Jen friends, I'm Major Gaurav and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. And I'll tell you why, because this is one country that has lost every time. And it's not just that they have lost in the field of war, they have lost in the field of diplomacy, they've lost in the field of this is a loser rich countries because they need money. And they are in this constant need and hunger for dollars. And this is the reason, exact reason why Asim Munir has gone to China. Jen friends, I'm Major Gaurav and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. Ladies and gentlemen, when you think about Australia, what is it that comes to mind? Beautiful country, island, continent, excellent cricket team, great sportsmen, great beaches, adventure sports, first world economy. That is what comes to mind now. Australia has said, the Labour government in Australia has said that 2 years before schedule, they are going to make their own missiles. And this categorically, this news article says that Australia aims to start making guided missiles in 2 years. Now, why is Australia doing that? They say that China's military buildup has been, and this is the Australians talking, that the Chinese military buildup has been the greatest military buildup since the Second World War, and it has been absolutely opaque. There is no transparency. Now, what do they mean by transparency in this? They mean that, you know nothing about China. You know nothing about Chinese intentions. China does not follow a rules-based order. China pretty much does what it feels like. If it wants to threaten Taiwan, it threatens Taiwan. If it wants to unleash North Korea and Pakistan, it unleashes North Korea and Pakistan. If China wants to come to Galwan and face the Indian armed forces eyeball to eyeball, it does that. It wants to covet Indian territory, which has not been able to take, but it covets in its own heart. China does that. There is something about China that is unpredictable, and nations are now gearing up to the fact that you cannot read China through Western lenses. You have to read China through the Eastern lens. They say that in the East, power is respected. Well, ladies and gentlemen, power is respected everywhere, but more so in case of China. And so, Australia says, this peace-loving nation, this sporting nation, this country that was built on sacrifice, this country that was built on hard work of immigrants, this says that now we are going to start manufacturing guided missiles. Now, take the case of Japan, for example, after the Second World War, after the Japanese surrender, it was a self-defense force. Due to various agreements, Japan could never have classically the armed force that we talk about. Their sovereignty, their safety and defense were guaranteed by the Americans. So the US guaranteed Japan's safety. And US, I think, still has a base in Okinawa or someplace in Japan. It still maintains troop presence in Japan. The problem is that China covets Japanese territory. China covets Australian territory. China covets every country's territory, and this is egged on by hyper-nationalist Chinese who think it's a good idea. It's only when the Chinese are punished, then they cry. So, they've tried to do this to India, they've tried to do this to Malaysia, to Indonesia, to every perceivable country on earth, even the USSR. The Chinese have a claim, or so they say, they claim the Vladivostok port. This is the so-called unlimited Chinese greed, which is why Australia, that peace-loving country, is saying that now we're going to manufacture guided missiles to take care of China. The other news here is that, Pakistan has threatened that we will go inside India and we'll attack India, etc., etc. Now, there is this Ahmad Sharif, Major General, who's the DG ISPR. Now, this is very normal and nobody takes Pakistan seriously. Pakistan says that it will go inside India and attack. Pakistan does not even have the money to come to its own borders, leave alone come inside India. It does not have the courage, it does not have the money, it's broke, it's morally bankrupt, it's economically bankrupt, it's bankrupt in every way. So there is no way Pakistan is attacking. But what I like about Pakistan, what I must appreciate is that their army is very active on social media. And I have never seen any army of the world, including the Indian army or the American army or the Chinese army, the Russian army, the British army, the French army. Nobody is so active on social media like the Pakistanis are. And this is the only place where the Pakistani army seems to be fighting a war. Operation Twitter is what they have launched, and that is all that they do. So they tweet saying that, and why are they saying this all of a sudden? There is always a trigger to any statement. So they're saying this now because Hamid Mir, that famous Pakistani journalist and TV anchor and columnist, Hamid Mir recently gave an interview to a lady journalist, and he said that General Bajwa, the erstwhile, the former, the previous army chief of Pakistan, he called a bunch of journalists and he said that we need peace with India because Pakistan does not have the money to fight with India. And this we covered yesterday also. Pakistan wants peace with India because we don't have fuel in our tanks, we don't have ammunition, we can't fight with India. We are in economically a very bad state. Not that Pakistan has been able to do anything when it was economically okay. For example, 1971, it was economically okay. At least that is what we are led to believe, and they still surrendered. Anyway, that is another story for another day. Now, the whole thing here is that, when Pakistanis said that they will attack, one thing always comes out as part of the statement is that Operation Swift Retort. After Pulwama, the Indian Air Force went in, Balakot, then the Pakistanis came, Wing Commander Abhinandan chased them, and while chasing them, his plane was shot down, and he was taken prisoner of war. And the Pakistanis celebrate taking of one Indian prisoner of war as if they won the war. And I'll tell you why, because this is one country that has lost every time. And it's not just that they have lost in the field of war, they have lost in the field of diplomacy, they've lost in the field of... This is a loser nation. This nation doesn't have anything to talk about. It has not created anything of value that the world wants, right? The only creation, terrorists, are things that the world does not want. It is perhaps one of the most unsafe countries on earth. So what Pakistan will do is, whatever little glimmer of hope it can get, whatever quote-unquote positive news it can get, Pakistanis go absolutely crazy, blowing it out of proportion, as if, they won a world war or something like that. So in 75 years of Pakistan's existence, the first good news was when they won the 1992 World Cup under the leadership of Imran Khan, and the second good news, quote-unquote, for the Pakistanis was when Wing Commander Abhinandan was taken prisoner of war. Pakistanis fail to understand that being prisoner of war is not dishonorable conduct. Wing Commander Abhinandan fired missiles. He downed Pakistani planes, which Pakistanis are lying about, by the way. They've tried to hide it. And then, the gravestones were discovered, and there was a lot of chatter on social media. And then the Pakistanis authority, just like their Chinese fathers, they tried to hide it. Now, the thing is that one prisoner of war, Abhinandan. And what did we take in 1971? We took 93,000 prisoner of war. And they had surrendered, by the way. Being prisoner of war is not shameful. But en masse surrendering in front of your enemy because you do not have the will to fight, because you have a cowardly leadership, because all your talk about Ghazi and Ghazwa and other fancy terms, they're all nonsense. They mean nothing because on ground you cannot fight. And Pakistan was badly exposed. So today, you have Pakistanis, the Pakistani army, active on Twitter saying that we'll do this and we'll do that. Trust you me, they will do nothing because they can do nothing. They have not been able to do anything in the past except send terrorists to India. That is Pakistan's claim to fame. Now, Abdul Basit, former diplomat, and very surprising, this is the mindset. I'm going to tell you stuff that will shock you. If I say this, it's wrong, but I can say this because I don't have any official position, or I never represented my country on any platform whatsoever, right? So I was never tasked by my country to speak on its behalf. I speak privately as a private citizen. As a private citizen, my constitution gives me the right to say anything. But Abdul Basit, an educated person, a former High Commissioner to India, says that about the Punch attack, he says that if the Mujahideen did it, or whoever did it, Mujahideen as in terrorists, they glorify terrorists and call them Mujahideen, warriors of the faith. Because that is how Pakistani society is. Anybody who kills somebody else is warrior of the faith, etc., etc. So that's how their mindset is. Now, Abdul Basit says that whatever happened in Punch, our 5 brothers were, they achieved Veergati uh, of the Indian Army, the Rashtra Rifles Battalion in Punch, almost 4-5 days back. Abdul Basit says that, whatever the Mujahideen did, well, it's not wrong because they were attacking a military position and they were attacking military troops, so it's all right. Here is not a common man. Here is a former High Commissioner to India, a former ambassador, a senior member of Pakistan's foreign service, who's openly supporting terrorism. And this is surprising because among the Pakistanis at least, he's considered to be a well-read person. He's considered to be an educated person. If this is the standard of Pakistan's elite, can you imagine the standard of the other 22 crore people of Pakistan? How they would be thinking about, India, about Kashmir. Abdul Basit was the gentleman who was the High Commissioner to India during the times pre-COVID. I think in 2016, 2017, somewhere along that time, he was in India. If I'm not mistaken, he was the High Commissioner. And this was the person who was encouraging, let's have iftar parties, let's call, the Hurriyat conference. So people from the Hurriyat, Mirwais, etc. would come to the Pakistan High Commission, and under this guise of Indian democracy and the freedom of movement and the freedom of speech, they would spew poison against India. Prime Minister Modi shut everything off. Now, there are no iftar parties which are happening in the Pakistani High Commission in which so-called separatists, in fact, the separatists have disappeared. We don't know where the Hurriyat is. Hurriyat was there, it was very active some time back, and suddenly it just disappeared. So today there is no Hurriyat. I don't know where it is. Nobody knows where the Hurriyat is. It's just gone. Disappeared in thin air. So that nonsense of the Pakistani High Commission calling people has stopped. There are a lot of left-wing radicals who would regularly go to the Pakistani High Commission and they would be wined and dined there, and the Pakistani High Commission would lay out the red carpet. And Abdul Basit was very active. The Modi government has shut their shop. And now the Pakistani High Commission is a shadow of its former self. Without money, without respect, without honor, without prestige. Just a small plot of land in Chanakya in New Delhi. That's all that the Pakistani High Commission is today. And thank God for that. Chief of Army Staff Asim Munir of the Pakistani Army, it said yesterday he's gone to beg for money, and this is exactly what has happened. Now, their own newspapers are saying that he has gone to speak about, now don't laugh, security, military cooperation, and regional stability. Just imagine, security, cooperation. What cooperation is there between China and Pakistan? I have never understood. One is the master, one is the slave. And this is not a symbiotic relationship. China throws money at Pakistan and tells Pakistan what to do, and Pakistan follows orders. This is not a relationship unless you call a master and a slave relationship to be a relationship. Asim Munir has gone there, General Asim Munir of the Pakistan Army, the army chief, and he's speaking about regional stability. Am I the only one who sees a joke there? Am I the only one who's laughing? Because Pakistan talking about regional stability and partnering with China for regional stability is funny, because Pakistan is the only unstable nation in that region. Even, sure, Afghanistan is not part of South Asia. It's not. But just as an experiment, let us include Afghanistan. Let us include the Central Asian republics. Let us include China. India is of course there, and Nepal is there, Bhutan is there, you have Myanmar which is there, and you have Sri Lanka which is there. Let us also include Iran, which is not there in South Asia, but let's include it. We are having an academic exercise here. Let's include everything. Now I'm asking you, in spite of the Taliban being in Afghanistan, out of which country do you get the most bad news, the maximum bad news? Where do you get it from? Which country is unstable? It is Pakistan. How is it possible that Pakistan, one of the most unstable countries on earth, is having a meeting with China on stability? Basically, there is no meeting on stability. This is a lie perpetrated by ISPR, the same people who are saying no, that we'll go inside India and they were tweeting and all that. Same tweeple, I think that's the term, Twitter people, tweeple. So this is the same ISPR that is doing all that. And I'll tell you why the ISPR is doing it. Because they know why their army chief has gone. The same army chief went to Saudi Arabia. He begged for money. He got 2 billion. This is a successful army chief. He managed to beg money and get money from Saudi. He managed to get $1 billion commitment from UAE. Now he has gone to China for 2 reasons. The security that they're talking about, it's not regional security. It is the security of Chinese businessmen inside Pakistan. Now those Chinese businessmen are fools. Who asked you to go to Pakistan? Which man in his right mind or woman in his right mind goes to Pakistan? But they decided to go, and serves them right, serves them absolutely right. Now they went because Chinese are greedy for money. They thought that, we'll do this and that, but you might earn some money out of conning the Pakistanis, which is a big deal because Pakistan has been conning the rest of the world. But maybe you'll make some money, but it's not worth it if you're dead. Recently, they had to rescue a Chinese engineer from Dasu. The Pakistani army sent its helicopter to airlift that guy because the Pakistanis were going to kill him because somebody framed him on fake blasphemy charges saying that he had insulted the Quran or Prophet Muhammad or Islam or something like that. So some vague allegation, and all the Pakistanis like piranhas, like piranhas swimming with their big mouths open, sharp teeth, ripping apart this man. They want to do it. Matter of minutes, Pakistani army came and they rescued their customer. Their clients, the Chinese are clients of the Pakistanis. So they rescued their client and they took them away. Took this guy away to a safe position. Now he's in jail and he's being looked after, cared for, because you can't have a dead Chinese in Pakistan. It's bad for whatever passes off as Pakistan's image. But the fact is that Asim Munir has gone to China to beg for money, number one. Number two, China-Pakistan economic corridor. We will provide all the security to you. Don't worry. Come to Pakistan. Let's do business. This is why he's gone there. And also, we'll do everything that you say. Give us $2-3 billion. This is what he is going to communicate to the Chinese. And I'm telling you, in the next 1 month, save this video. In the next 1 month, you'll hear a statement. It can happen in the next 1 week. It can happen in the next 1 month. But it will happen in the short term that you will hear that China has given money to Pakistan or has decided to re-energize and restart the China-Pakistan economic corridor, or done something which is related to finance, not to security. The reason why Pakistanis are saying that the army chief had gone to China, not on regional security, nothing on security. It has to do with money. The Pakistanis do not go to any country without a begging bowl. They do not go unless that country has dollars. When was the last time the Pakistani foreign minister visited a poor Asian or an African country? They'll not go there. They'll never go there. They go to rich countries because they need money. And they are in this constant need and hunger for dollars. And this is the reason, exact reason why Asim Munir has gone to China. Because the same guy went to Saudi Arabia, the same guy went to UAE. He's very successful, managed $3 billion. Now he has to get 3 more from China. His target is 3. Whether China gives 1 billion or 2 billion or 3, I don't know. But very soon, in the near term, you will hear that China has supported Pakistan economically. And that will be because the Pakistani army chief, General Asim Munir, is an A-grade beggar. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please press like, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.